Okay, Nisha, let's get real about this Europe trip. We're going low budget, so forget those fancy Swiss chalets and high-speed rail for every city.
I know. Adventure over luxury. So, where do we start? Western Europe, Paris, Rome, London is the most expensive, right?
Absolutely. For a low-budget trip, we should seriously focus on Eastern and Central Europe. Think Hungary, Budapest, Czech Republic, Prague, Poland, Krakow, or even the Balkans like Croatia or Bulgaria. Our daily expenses there, accommodation, food, even sightseeing, will almost be half of what they are in, say, France or Italy.
Good point. Let's aim for a loop covering Prague, Budapest, and maybe Vienna for a touch of Western Europe, since they're well connected. Now, the biggest initial cost the flight from India.
We must book at least 4 to 6 months in advance. Look for flights landing in major hubs like Frankfurt, Amsterdam, or Istanbul, and then take a budget airline like Ryanair or Wizz Air or a bus to a first Eastern European city. A round trip from India below 45,000 rupees per person is the target. Using connecting flights will always be cheaper than direct ones.
Smart. Okay, transport within Europe. Eurail pass or point-to-point tickets?
For a low-budget itinerary covering a few set countries, point-to-point tickets, especially long-distance buses like FlexBus or RegioJet, are usually cheaper than a continuous Eurail Global Pass. The Eurail Pass only makes sense if we're crisscrossing the entire continent with many stops. For our planned route, buses and budget flights for long distances, example from Italy to Poland, will save us more money. We just have to book those bus or train tickets well in advance.
Sold on the bus idea. It's slower, but the views are free sightseeing. Next, stay. Hostels, Airbnb?
Hostels are king for low budget. Look for hostels with a shared kitchen. It drastically cuts our food costs. A private room in an Airbnb is also a good option if we travel in a group of 3 to 4 people, but always check if they have a functional kitchen. Aim for rupees 2,000 to 3,500 per night per person in the eastern cities.
The kitchen is a game changer. Food is where we Indians can save a lot.
Exactly. We must carry our own ready-to-eat packets, instant noodles, and basic Indian spices. Relying on local supermarkets like Lidl or Aldi to cook breakfast and at least one meal will be crucial. For eating out, stick to local eateries, bakeries for breakfast, and street food like Trdelnik in Czech Republic or goulash in Hungary for an authentic, cheap experience. Avoid tourist trap restaurants near major monuments.
And for sightseeing, the major attractions, the Colosseum in Rome, the Louvre in Paris, have hefty entry fees.
That's where we get smart. Focus on free activities. Every major city, from Rome to Berlin, has amazing free walking tours. Spend time in free-to-enter sites like churches, public parks, and historic town squares. Most European cities offer a city pass for tourists, like Prague Card, which includes public transport and entry to some museums. We need to calculate if the cost of the city pass justifies the sites we want to see. Otherwise, pay-per entry is better.
And what about local city transport? Should we buy day passes?
In large cities like Berlin or Paris, a day or 72-hour public transport pass is a must. We can't afford taxis. In smaller cities like Krakow, we can walk everywhere. Always use Google Maps for public transport directions. It's far more efficient than driving or cabs.
All right, let's quickly summarize the mantra. Focus on Eastern or Central Europe, Prague, Budapest, Krakow. Flights, book 4 to 6 months out, consider connections, target below 45K. Intercity travel, FlixBus or RegioJet or budget airlines, not the expensive Eurail pass. Stay, hostels, Airbnb with a kitchen. Food, cook in hostels, pack ready-to-eats from India, and prioritize cheap street food and lunch menus. Sightseeing, free walking tours, public parks, and free or low-cost city pass based on our interests.